Good morning. I hope that you're well. I've come this morning to Woodburn Reservoir. You may have been here before, you may not. It's just outside Carrickfergus. Now I am sorry to say that every time I seem to come to Carrickfergus on the Friday devotional, it seems to be raining. But anyway, there we are. I'll show you a few shots around here in just a moment. This is a reservoir that supplies water to lots of houses in this surrounding area. And we're very blessed like that in this country, aren't we? If we get thirsty, we just simply turn on the tap, we get a glass of water, a cup of tea, whatever it is we're having to drink, and it's no problem. It's very easy for us to quench our thirst. You know what it is to have that feeling of deep thirst. It's very uncomfortable. Your throat is aching, you just desperately need a drink. Your head can be spinning, or you can find it really hard to concentrate and think. You're dehydrated and you need something to drink. Your thirst is just aching. If you've ever been out on a hot day and you're out in the middle of the day, well, you know what that feels like. It's not nice. The Lord Jesus speaks to us in John chapter 7 about thirst. It's a feast that he's at in Jerusalem, one of the great feasts, the Feast of Booths. It's a time whenever the Israelites would have come to Jerusalem and camped out in tents, and they were reminding and recollecting to themselves of the time whenever they were in the desert. And God had supplied all of their needs. He'd given them food to eat, manna from heaven, and he'd given them at times miraculous provisions of water. God had come and given them everything they need. Well, Jesus stands up on the last day of this feast and he cries out, "If anyone thirsts, let him come to me and drink." What's Jesus talking about in these words? Well, he's not talking about that thirst that we feel in our throats, that aching that we have whenever we really need a drink. But he's talking about a similar feeling that we can have in our lives. He's talking about a deep down dissatisfaction with life. There's many people in our world that feel that. Perhaps you feel it this morning. There's something missing in your life. You don't know what it is. You can't put your finger on it, but there's something missing. You just don't feel complete. You never quite feel satisfied, no matter what one of your goals, no matter what you manage to achieve, no matter what you get. It doesn't seem to fill that void. I was reading a poll that has recently been taken about people's happiness across the UK. And it's brilliant because Northern Ireland comes out on top of that poll. We live in the happiest part of the UK. Isn't that great? We live in the happiest part of the UK. But there's something quite sad about that poll. Even though we top the poll, just over 30% of us in this country feel satisfied with our lives. That means that nearly 70% feel dissatisfied with life. There is a void in their lives. There is something missing. And that's what Jesus is talking about. Now, people in our world try to fill that void with many things: experiences, careers, relationships, things, material possessions. But what people find is that those things leave them dissatisfied. They leave them in the nearly 70% who are looking for something more, who've got an aching void in their lives. And Jesus is telling us why that is. He is saying, if you're thirsty, if that's how you feel, you need to come to me. You see, each of us are made in God's image. And because we're made in God's image, we are made for a relationship with God. But there's a problem in our lives. We've got sin. And that ruins our relationship with God. And so Jesus is saying, you need to come to me and you need to drink, not drink of him. You need to come to me and put your faith in me, he is saying. I can deal with your sin and I can give you everything that you're missing in life. I can satisfy you. I can change your life. That's what the Lord Jesus is promising in these words. And I wonder, have you come to Jesus this morning? When you feel that thirst deep down, when you're aware of that void in your life, where are you trying to fill it? What are you looking for? Jesus tells us that it's only He who can satisfy. It's a relationship with God through Him that can only make us truly happy. If you're thirsty this morning, come to Jesus and drink of Him, and you will find that He and He alone can truly quench your thirst.